Chosen one, you did not arrive here by chance. You were summoned by divine timing. Heaven scheduled this very moment before you even pressed play. You are standing at the edge of a sacred shift, the kind that rearranges destinies and awakens what has slept for generations. The Spirit of God is moving through this word right now, whispering that what was once hidden is about to be revealed. Chosen one, the hour has come. You are stepping into what the ancient prophets called a kairos moment, the appointed time, the intersection where promise meets manifestation. As it is written in Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 3, though the vision tarries, wait for it will surely come, it will not delay. That delay you've endured was never denial. It was divine preparation. Even now, heaven is aligning the unseen with your obedience. The air around you carries the pulse of new beginnings. The same God who spoke galaxies into motion is speaking your name in this very hour. This is not just another video, it is a prophetic encounter. Stay alert, anointed one, for your moment of unveiling has begun. Chosen one. I want you to slow your mind for a moment and listen, not just with your ears, but with your spirit. Long before books were written, long before churches had walls, long before sermons had pulpits, God spoke through creation. And among all of creation, the heavens have always been his loudest yet quietest voice. Scripture tells us plainly that the heavens declare the glory of God. That was never poetic decoration. That was truth. The stars were not placed randomly. They were not scattered without purpose. They are ordered, measured, and sustained by the same God who sustains you. And chosen ones, those who walk closely with God, have always been able to perceive what others overlook. You see, not everyone looks at the sky and feels something stir in their soul. Many people see stars and think nothing more than light in darkness. But chosen ones feel peace. They feel memory. They feel a reminder of something eternal. That is because your spirit recognizes God's signature. The heavens speak a language that the heart understands before the mind can explain it. This is important for you to hear because some of you have questioned yourselves. You have wondered why certain moments feel heavier, why certain nights feel sacred, why silence feels louder to you than noise. Let me reassure you gently but firmly, you are not imagining this. You are discerning. There is a difference. I remember a season in my own life when I felt this deeply. I would step outside at night, burdened by questions I couldn't answer, carrying weight I didn't know how to release. And in those moments when I looked up at the stars, something shifted. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't a vision or a voice. It was a settling, a quiet knowing that I was not alone, that God was speaking not in words but in presence, and that presence was enough. God has always used the heavens to mark moments. He used a star to announce the arrival of Christ. He used signs in the sky to warn, to guide, and to confirm. But here is where many misunderstand. God does not speak to his chosen ones through fear. He speaks through clarity, peace, and alignment. When the heavens speak to you, they do not confuse you. They settle you. Chosen ones are observers before they are messengers. God trains your eyes before he uses your voice. That is why you notice patterns, timing, and subtle shifts. That is why your spirit reacts before your logic does. The language of the heavens bypasses noise and goes straight to the soul. And only those who have been refined through trials can understand that language without misusing it. I want to be very clear here, because wisdom requires balance. This is not superstition. This is not astrology. This is not chasing signs without grounding. Chosen ones do not worship the stars. They recognize the one who made them. You do not look to the heavens for direction apart from God. You look through the heavens and see God's consistency, his order, his patience, and his authority. That distinction matters because your calling requires sobriety of spirit. God never calls his chosen ones into confusion. He sharpens discernment, not imagination. Run wild. If a sign brings fear, anxiety, or ego, it is not from God. But if it brings calm, reassurance, humility, and stillness, then you are witnessing his handiwork. Some of you have been mentally exhausted, not because life is hard alone, but because you have been carrying unseen weight. You have been strong for too long without rest. And when the mind is tired, God does not shout. He invites you to look up. He reminds you that he is bigger than your worries and closer than your breath. The heavens remind chosen ones of scale. Your problems feel heavy because you are human. But when you look at the stars, your spirit remembers eternity. You remember that God has been faithful long before your current struggle and will remain faithful long after this season passes. That perspective is healing. That is why God uses it. Many of you were called sensitive in ways the world could not understand. You feel deeply. You notice shifts in energy, atmosphere, and emotion. That sensitivity was never weakness. It was training. God tuned your spirit to receive subtle communication so that you would not need constant external validation. You were taught to listen inwardly. The world teaches people to seek noise. God teaches his chosen ones to honor silence, and the heavens are the ultimate classroom of silence. No arguing, no rushing, no pressure. Just steady light shining in darkness night after night without striving. That is how God teaches you endurance. I want you to hear this clearly because some of you have been doubting yourselves. If you feel calm when you look at the stars, that is not escape. That is regulation. God is calming your nervous system. He is reminding your mind that it is safe to rest. That is part of spiritual maturity. Chosen ones are often misunderstood because their depth cannot be rushed. You process life differently. You do not need constant answers. You need truth. And truth often comes quietly. God knows when to speak loudly and when to whisper. The heavens whisper. Tonight, when you look up, do not strain to see something dramatic. Do not force meaning. Simply observe. Let your heart settle. Let your thoughts slow. Let God do the work you have been trying to do yourself. Healing does not always come through effort. Sometimes it comes through surrender. The language of the heavens is not about prediction. It is about remembrance. Remembering who God is. Remembering who you are. Remembering that you are not behind. Remembering that you are held. Chosen one, your ability to perceive God through creation is not accidental. It is cultivated. And as we continue, you will begin to understand why this moment, this night, and this message matters so deeply for you. Stay with me. God is not finished speaking yet, chosen one. I want you to breathe for a moment and let this settle. Tonight matters. Not because something dramatic has to happen, not because the sky must split open, but because your spirit has arrived at a quiet intersection. God often chooses nights like this, when the world slows down, when distractions soften, when your defenses are lowered to speak in ways that do not compete with noise. You have been carrying more than you admit. You keep going. You stay faithful. You pray even when your prayers feel heavy. You believe even when answers delay. And God has seen every moment of your endurance. Tonight is not about reward. It is about reassurance. God knows when his chosen ones are tired, and he does not shame them for it. He meets them gently. There are seasons when God pushes, and there are seasons when he steadies. Tonight is about steadying. You may not have noticed it consciously, but your soul has been asking for confirmation, not direction. You are not asking, what should I do? You are asking, am I still seen? And that question matters deeply to God. Chosen ones often reach a point where they no longer need applause, validation, or explanation. They need peace. They need to feel held again. That is why tonight is significant. God restores perspective before he restores momentum. He calms the heart before he moves the hands. You did not come here by coincidence. Timing is one of God's most precise tools. When a message reaches you at the exact moment your resistance has softened, that is divine intelligence at work. God waits until you are ready to receive, without forcing, without striving, without panic. Tonight is not rushed. It is intentional. Some of you have felt a strange stillness recently, not emptiness stillness. And you wondered if something was wrong. Let me correct that gently. Stillness is not absence. It is alignment. God often quiets the external so you can finally hear the internal. And tonight, that quiet is purposeful. The night has always been sacred. It is when God spoke to prophets. It is when dreams carried messages. It is when fear and faith wrestled and faith prevailed. The night strips away performance. There is no audience, no expectations, just honesty. God meets his chosen ones there because nothing is hidden in the dark when you are walking with him. Tonight, the heavens are not demanding your attention. They are offering you rest. They are reminding you that God works even when you are still, that He sustains creation without anxiety, that His plans do not depend on your constant effort, that truth alone can ease a tired mind. You have been strong for too long without permission to rest. You felt responsible for holding everything together, but God never asked you to carry what only He can hold. Tonight is significant because it invites you to put something down. Worry, pressure, self-blame, the need to figure it all out. Chosen ones often confuse faithfulness with exhaustion, but God never intended obedience to drain you completely. He restores strength before He assigns new responsibility. Tonight is restoration. You may feel emotional without knowing why, or calm in a way that surprises you, or reflective without sadness. These are signs of recalibration. God is realigning your inner world. That work happens quietly. There is no announcement, no trumpet, just peace returning where tension lived too long. Do not measure tonight by what you see externally. Measure it by what shifts internally. If your breathing slows, if your thoughts soften, if your heart feels lighter, that is the sign God is near. Some of you have been asking for clarity about your future. But God knows your heart needed reassurance about your present. He is not distant. He is not disappointed. He is not delayed. He is precise. And tonight, He wants you to feel safe again. The significance of tonight is not that something begins, it is that something releases. Release of fear, release of urgency, release of self-doubt. When those leave, clarity follows naturally. Chosen one, you are not behind. You are not late. You are not missing anything. God is not rushing you because He is not anxious. Tonight is proof of that. He allowed you to slow down because slowing down is sometimes the most spiritual act of all. I have walked through seasons where I felt like I was falling behind while everyone else was moving forward, where I questioned whether my obedience even mattered. And in those moments, God would remind me, not through a loud word, but through a quiet knowing, that His timing is not measured by productivity. It is measured by alignment, and alignment requires stillness. As you look up tonight, do not search for answers. Let peace find you. Let reassurance settle in your chest. Let God remind you that He has been with you every step, even in silence. This night is significant because it restores trust. Trust in God, trust in timing, trust in yourself as someone He has chosen and sustained. And as we continue, you will begin to see how this quiet moment fits perfectly into the larger story God is writing through your life. Chosen one. I want you to understand something gently, without pressure, without mystery, and without fear. God does not only heal through miracles that shock the senses. He heals through calm. He heals through remembrance. He heals through moments that slow your thoughts enough for your heart to catch up. And one of the ways He does this is through the quiet language of the stars. When you look up at the night sky, something happens inside you before you even realize it. Your breathing changes. Your thoughts stretch out instead of colliding. The tight grip your mind has been holding begins to loosen. That is not coincidence. That is regulation. God designed awe as medicine for the soul. Chosen ones often carry tension they never talk about. You are strong, dependable, spiritually aware, and emotionally deep. People lean on you. Situations lean on you. Even silence leans on you. And over time, that weight settles into your nervous system. You may still function, but you feel tired in a way sleep alone cannot fix. God knows this about you. That is why healing for chosen ones is rarely loud. It is rarely dramatic. God heals you by reminding your body and mind that it is safe. The stars do that. They speak stability. Night after night they appear without anxiety, without striving, without effort. They simply shine. That consistency tells your spirit you can rest. God is still holding everything. Some of you have been fighting thoughts you never expected to have. Worry, overthinking, self-questioning, emotional fatigue. You asked yourself why, even with faith, your mind feels heavy at times. Let me speak truth into that space. Faith does not remove the human nervous system. It teaches it where to rest, and God is teaching you how to rest again. The stars are not there to impress you. They are there to ground you. They remind you that God's work does not depend on urgency. that his plans unfold over time, that nothing he creates is rushed. And when your mind absorbs that truth, something inside you softens. Healing often begins when pressure ends, when you stop forcing clarity, when you stop demanding answers, when you stop rehearsing every possible outcome. The heavens teach you to release control without losing faith. That is a rare and sacred lesson. Chosen ones are often healers themselves. You listen deeply, you encourage wisely, you carry compassion naturally. But healers forget to receive healing. You give reassurance better than you accept it. You counsel others better than you comfort yourself. And God sees that imbalance tonight. He invites you to receive. There is inner healing hidden in stillness. When you stare at the stars, your mind cannot multitask the way it usually does. It cannot rush. It cannot argue. It cannot plan 10 steps ahead. It pauses. That pause allows God to reach places in you that noise cannot access. Some of you are carrying old emotional residue. Memories that no longer hurt sharply but still influence how you move. Disappointments you never fully processed. Losses you learned to survive instead of grieve. God does not shame you for that. He knows survival was necessary. But now healing is possible. The stars remind you that light can exist alongside darkness without fighting it. They do not erase the night. They illuminate within it. That is how God heals chosen ones. He does not deny your pain. He brings light into it until it no longer controls you. You may notice tonight that thoughts slow down, or emotions rise gently and then pass, or a sense of calm settles without explanation. Do not analyze it. Do not resist it. That is your system releasing stored tension. That is healing in progress. God often heals the mind before he changes circumstances, because a calm mind can endure what a frantic mind cannot. And chosen ones are called to endure wisely, not desperately. There is also humility in looking at the stars. You remember that you are part of something vast, that your story matters, but it is not alone, that God has been faithful across generations, across seasons, across silence. That realization eases the pressure you place on yourself to have everything figured out right now. Some of you have been blaming yourselves quietly, wondering if you missed something, if you failed spiritually, if you misunderstood God. Let me correct that with authority and compassion. God is not disappointed in you. Growth often looks like confusion before it looks like clarity. Healing often looks like fatigue before it looks like strength. The stars do not demand explanation for their presence. They exist because God placed them there. You do not need to justify your worth through productivity, suffering, or perfection. You exist because God chose you. That truth alone can heal deeply. Chosen one inner healing is not about becoming someone new overnight. It is about returning to who you were before fear hardened you, before pressure shaped you too sharply, before expectations drowned your peace. God restores. He does not replace. As you sit under the stars, allow yourself to be small without feeling insignificant. There is freedom in that. You do not have to carry the universe. God already does. This is mental therapy in its purest form. No forcing, no fixing, just remembering truth. You are safe. You are guided. You are held, and God is gently healing you in ways you may only fully recognize later. Do not rush this moment. Healing does not respond well to urgency. Let it unfold. Let your breath slow. Let your shoulders drop. Let your heart unclench. The stars are not just above you. They are working within you, and the God who placed them there knows exactly how to heal his chosen ones quietly, faithfully, and completely. Chosen one. Let me take this a little deeper, because some healing happens beneath awareness. There are wounds you learned to live around, not because they were healed, but because life required you to keep moving. You adapted, you became functional, you became reliable. But adaptation is not the same as restoration. God knows the difference even when you no longer feel the pain clearly. The quiet of the night allows what was buried to breathe without overwhelming you. That is why God often heals in stillness. He does not rip old wounds open. He loosens them gently, layer by layer, until they no longer bind you. If emotions surface tonight without clear reason, let them pass. Tears are not weakness. They are release. Some of you have been holding grief in your body, not dramatic grief, but quiet grief. The grief of unmet expectations, the grief of misunderstood obedience, the grief of outgrowing places and people you once loved. The stars bear witness to that without judgment. They remind you that seasons change without apology. I remember walking through a season where I felt stuck between versions of myself. The person I used to be no longer fit, but the person I was becoming had not yet arrived. I grieved friendships that had naturally faded. I mourned opportunities that closed before I understood why. And for a long time I thought something was wrong with me. But God was teaching me that grief is not always about loss. Sometimes it is about transition, and transition requires mourning what was even when what is coming is better. God is also healing your relationship with rest. You were taught directly or indirectly that rest must be earned through exhaustion, but God never demanded burnout as proof of faithfulness. He restores first, then sends. The stars teach you how to exist without striving, and that lesson heals deep inner pressure. Chosen one, you do not need to be alert tonight. You do not need to be spiritually on guard. You are not missing anything by resting. In fact, your rest is part of your obedience. God trusts you enough to let you breathe. So receive this healing without trying to understand it fully. Let it settle into your bones. Let it soften the places you hardened to survive. God is not rushing your recovery. He is committed to it. And the same heavens that declare His glory tonight are quietly declaring your restoration as well. There is something profound happening in this moment that many will overlook, but you will not. Because God has trained your spirit to recognize what others dismiss. Tonight is not just about looking at stars. It is about allowing God to rewire the way you carry weight, to recalibrate the way you process pressure, to remind you that you were never meant to hold everything alone. Some of you have been operating in survival mode for so long that you forgot what peace feels like. You have been managing crisis after crisis, carrying burden after burden, that your nervous system normalized tension. And now, even when things are calm, your body does not know how to rest. Your mind stays alert. Your heart stays guarded. But God is reversing that tonight. He is teaching your body that it is safe to let go. That safety is not found in control, but in trust. That peace is not the absence of challenge, but the presence of God within it. This is not surface-level healing. This is cellular. This is the kind of restoration that happens when you stop trying to fix yourself and let God reach the places you cannot access on your own. You may not feel different immediately. You may not wake up tomorrow with everything resolved, but something will have shifted. A heaviness you have carried will feel lighter. A fear that once controlled you will lose its grip. A lie you believed about yourself will lose its voice. That is how God heals chosen ones. Not with fanfare, but with faithfulness. Not with drama, but with depth. Not all at once, but layer by layer, until what once bound you can no longer hold you. And here is what I need you to understand, anointed one. This healing is not just for you. It is preparation for what God is about to release through you. He is restoring you so you can carry what is coming without breaking under its weight. He is healing you so your assignment does not drain you. He is renewing your mind so your calling does not confuse you. God never heals without purpose, and the fact that He is meeting you here tonight under these stars in this stillness tells me that something significant